So I called and pitched Bruce. Bruce came over. We shot the shit, had a good time. And then after all my friends left, he sat downstairs in my living room and looked over and said, "What the fuck do you do?" And I said, "What do you mean?" Because we have a nice house. You're not very old. How are you here? And I explained it. And so we talked about how that worked. And he kind of was looking for something to do and thought, man, we should figure something out. Well, then I was actually doing a recruiting initiative to grow new markets and new branches. And I said, hey, I'm going to have to shoot some video. Who better to produce these sales videos than Bruce Prichard? So I flew him in. We worked on the project, held a big rally thing in Nashville, grew a whole branch. It was successful. And I said, hey, we need to do more of this. So he started coming in about once a month, spend a week with me. We'd work on different landing pages, shoot a bunch of different videos. It was working. But at the end of the night, after everything's done, we're finished with our work, I'd say something like, hey, man, whatever happened when what happened when the Radicals jumped from WCW to the WWF? And he adjusted in his seat and he goes, well, here's the thing. And he just starts talking. And at the end, I said, dude, that's a podcast. And he said, what? And I said, what we just did, if we were to recorded that, everybody would want to listen to that. He goes, no, nobody wants to hear my story. So I go, yeah, they do. They don't know that you have that story. They think they'd have to get that story from Eddie Guerrero or somebody else, but you know that story. You were there. We should do a podcast. And he had done one before, and he said, nobody's going to listen. You can't make any money. And I'm like, dude, you just got a t-shirt store on Pro Wrestling Tees. Let's just do it. You'll sell a whole bunch of t-shirts. You'll get your stories out there. Maybe we'll sell some sponsors, and then I can plug my mortgage company. And eventually I beat him down, and he said, okay, we'll do it. And we did, and it worked. And now we keep doing it. That's it.
Wow. So the success of the first podcast, because I've heard Bruce tell his story, Bruce was just blown away by it. He literally did not think anybody would listen to it.
No, he didn't. And at the time, we didn't know anything about podcasting or the back end as far as how do you monetize it? What are the platforms? How's the RSS distributed? Like, none of that stuff did we have a handle on. Set an expectation that if you guys get 10,000 downloads, that's pretty good. And if you can get to 30,000, then you can start making some real money. But we had like 300,000 downloads very fast. Wow. And we were both hitting refresh. At the time, there was this great show on AMC, and I forget the name of it, but it was about the tech boom in the 80s. And Bruce and I were just junkies for the show. We're watching it in my home theater basement, and we're both just hitting refresh on Audio Boom at the time. Like, these numbers can't be real. This has got to be wrong. So we messaged them like, hey, did y'all like miss a decimal? Like, something's up. And they're like, no, that's right. And so around that same time, right around the same time we're launching the show, is when all the TNA mess with Billy Corgan and Dixie Carter and all that happened. And those episodes cracked 1 million. And we just could not believe, like, 1 million people listen to this. Like, our goal was 10,000 and 1 million people listen to it. So by January, I sent an email to, what was their name? Oh, I forget the name of it, but I said, hey, here's our, cause I couldn't get any traction. Like, how do we make real money with this? I don't know yet, but we had done like 2.9 million impressions in that last calendar month in the last 30 days from wherever it was in January through December. And they replied immediately and said, when can we jump on a call? They gave us a guarantee and a big lump sum to sign. And we said, hey, the only way we'll do this is if you bring everybody else on the MLW radio network. They did. So Cornette and everybody else's podcast came along with us, and we all started making money together, and here we go.
There you go. I don't think I've ever been happier for a guy's success as I have been for Bruce's.
Yes.
So yeah. Bruce is such a good person and is such a smart guy, as everybody knows. But you really helped Bruce out with this. Yeah. Bruce helped himself. I understand all that, but I was so thrilled when Bruce did the podcast and the success came so quickly as it did, which didn't surprise people like me and Jerry and you, I'm sure, Conrad.
Right.
We know how entertaining he is. He's entertained us forever. That's why
we heard those podcasts every night on the road when we traveled.
Yes. That's right. So he asked me one day, he goes,
we know how entertaining he was.
I said, no, Bruce, I was there.
Yes.
And I've heard the story, but it's fantastic. I mean, Bruce is as entertaining and smart. Yeah. Like you talk about him producing your commercials.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the best producers there is. Bruce is just good at almost everything he's ever done.
Absolutely. And he loves
except karate. We have we have
Hey, Johnny, 5-time Hall of Famer in karate.
That's right.
5-time.
He's in more Hall of Fames than Chuck Norris.
It's
Tell me
amazing
that's
to
not
me.
a work, Conrad. Tell me that's not a work.
When I went to his, he moved to Connecticut a few years ago, and I went up for his 60th birthday earlier this year, as you guys did. And so I'm seeing the Prichard estate for the first time, and he's got like the formal office and then the real office. He's got a whole wing over there, and he's got just floor to ceiling cool wrestling stuff. And I see, and he points because he sees me looking at it, and he goes, "Yep, there they are right there. That's my Karate Black Belt Hall of Fame plaque." And I go, "Where's the rest of it?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm looking for the canceled check. Is it on the back or what?" Because he made a donation for that. He didn't think that was funny at all.
He does. He has no sense of humor.
No.